Hello, my name is Pixel and welcome to the Sapphire Tech YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at The Witcher 3 running maxed out both with and without Nvidia Hairworks on our Sapphire Nitro Plus RX 6800 XT graphics card alongside the Ryzen 7 5800X CPU at a 1440p resolution. The reason I decided to jump back onto The Witcher 3 is simply because after pumping so much time into Cyberpunk 2077 over the past couple of weeks, I developed an interest in seeing how CD Projekt Red's Red engine has aged over the past 5 years. Now, I believe that at the time of the game's release, it would have likely been our Sapphire R9 2900X that would have been our most powerful graphics card for gaming at 1440p, and that was only really pumping out between around 30 and 40 frames per second at this resolution, and that's with Nvidia Hairworks completely disabled. With Hairworks enabled, you were probably looking at dropping into the sub 30 FPS territory fairly regularly. However, today, a little over 5 years later, on our Sapphire Nitro Plus RX 6800 XT, we are easily pumping out averages well above 120 FPS, with the game completely maxed out, Hairworks included, and with 8x MSAA to boot. Honestly, the jump in raw performance is, well, breathtaking. If we take things a step further and disable Hairworks, which I would honestly consider doing as Hairworks in general seems to go a little crazy at super high frame rates on hardware from both AMD and Nvidia, we see frame rates jump by around 40 to 60 frames per second on average, and wow, at this point performance is just straight up silly considering how great the game still manages to look, especially when it comes to the landscapes. I did try and look at a fairly diverse number of areas, including Novigrad, Skellige, and even the swamps, which did actually tank performance back at launch, and our frame rate remained solid. In all honesty, I was most impressed by Novigrad, as only a few years back most CPUs were struggling to reliably break 100 FPS, and yet, thanks to our Ryzen 7 5800X, we had no such problems today. The reason that I really wanted to jump into The Witcher 3 today was simply because I wanted to get an idea of the kind of performance uplift that we could possibly be seeing from Cyberpunk 2077 over the next few years. Unfortunately though, as positive as these numbers look, I'm not sure that I'm expecting these kind of gains to translate over to CD Projekt Red's latest title, at least not unless they're able to massively optimize CPU performance in the densely populated areas of Night City. Generally, at least historically over the past 13 or 14 years, performance increases from GPU upgrades have massively outpaced those from CPU upgrades, at least in terms of single-threaded performance, which still appears to be the limiting factor in most games. So unless we see some sort of miracle, I'm estimating that it's going to be a good 4 or 5 years before we see performance in Cyberpunk 2077 double, which is still by no means awful, but it's not going to be like the 4 or 5 times increase we've seen from The Witcher 3 across the same timescale. Now, to be clear, I am primarily talking about CPU performance here. Also, these are just my own estimations and I don't have access to any more information than the rest of you, so please don't read too deeply into anything that I've said. I simply just thought that taking a look back at The Witcher 3 would be an interesting exercise in relation to Cyberpunk 2077, nothing more. With all that said, that is once again going to be me done for today, so thank you so much for watching. I'll leave a few minutes of conversation gameplay at the end of the video, and maybe even a fight or two, so feel free to stick around for that. But for now though, I need to do the typical twist your arm to try and convince you to slap that subscribe button and ding that bell, so that you'll be notified when we upload future videos. Also, if you've liked this video then please leave it a like, and if you've got any questions, suggestions or feedback, leave it in the form of a comment and I will try and get back to you. Once again, from myself and everybody here at the Sapphire Tech YouTube channel, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we will catch you later. Bye bye.
Ottoman, sir. You've a guest.
Do you know what types of sculptures fetch the best prices? Statues of deities, busts of kings, and nudes. And what have we here? A naked wench. What do you think of her?
Frankly, gotta say I prefer the work of Pax Gernst.
Ah, the Kaviri school. Are you an Oxenfurt man?
No. Know some folk who graduated from there, though.
I used to like Botticelli. The life he could breathe into a chunk of cold stone. But I look at it now, and it seems just a rock, ideally proportioned. Not a flaw on its surface. Painfully perfect. As lifeless and boring as a boulder at the roadside. That's better. More interesting, at the least. Very well. And now to the matter at hand. Let's rejoin the company. Partake of some refreshment first.
Ataman Olgierd, long may he live! Long live the Ataman!
Long live the Ataman! Long live the Ataman!
Come and drink with us!
Well, we haven't a choice now. Fetch us some wine, dear. And a nibble or two.
This some special occasion? Or just feel like feasting?
Every occasion's special. Today we celebrate a dubbing.
Whose?
Squire Herodor's new sabre.
I've hit on a name for her. Fair Sabre, I dub thee Traditiana!
Monster in the sewers. Know anything more?
I've no clue what it is. Only that it's deadly. I'd not have bothered had my cook not become its victim. Oh, the way she prepared game had no equal.
That why she was in the sewers? To fetch game?
Nay. She went to a fair with a sister or cousin, matters not. Daft wench convinced her a prince transformed into a toad lives in the Oxenfurt sewers. And you know women. Each craves a prince and will wade knee-deep through shite to get him. Vissy was no exception in that respect. Down she went, never to return. Wasn't the first, it seems, either. Hey! Leave her be! Is that any way to treat the lord of the manor's daughter? Apologies. Now, where were we? Oh, yes, the contract. So, you'll check it?
Just one formality to resolve first. My pay.
Never you mind that. Return with the beast's head, and you'll have leave to take anything you wish from here.
Awfully generous. Still, I'd prefer to agree a specific amount.
Oh, fine. How much would you like? 400 crowns?
450.
Agreed. And that'll be in addition to whatever memento you wish to take.
Consider the beast gone.
Confident? Bring me its head, and the reward shall be yours.
Take one down, pass her around, 99 barrels of rum on the wall.